This year we'll see 4 large retail developments reach completion and throw open their doors to people across the UK. Retail Week has ventured inside the construction sites like this one here in Birmingham, plus those in Beverley, Bradford and Newport, to explore what makes them unique and uncover the challenges faced by local authorities and developers in making their dreams become a reality. Each week we'll assess a different aspect of the builds to paint a picture of the 4 centres and examine what they could mean for the future of large retail developments like this one. To kick off the series, let's start at the beginning then with design and architecture. And as we discover, that can play a huge role, not only in integrating the centre within the wider community, but in reaching its target demographic and driving footfall. Four large retail developments will open in the UK in 2015, the most in a single year since the recession struck. As the retail and construction industries once more start to set their sights on larger builds, Retail Week travelled the country to visit each of the developments and meet with just some of the people behind the projects. Over the course of the next 4 weeks, we'll be looking at the choices made in relation to design, the retail leisure mix, the use of technology, and how these large-scale projects will impact their surrounding areas. This is Foresights.
So the design of an environment like this, a shopping centre, is absolutely key. It made sense to rip a hole out of the middle of New Street Station and out of the Palisades and create this atrium, because that afforded the connectivity, that allowed that interface to happen, the connection from lower level to upper level and vice versa. So the issues we've had, of course, during a construction phase, and we're towards the end of that now, is keeping the train station live and operating. And that plays through to how Grand Central relates to the station. It is fully integrated. You can see from the atrium space behind me that there are escalators and they're linked directly down onto station and concourse level. We're in the heart of Grand Central and New Street Station. This is the atrium. We're at concourse level, station ticketing level, if you will, and wrapped around the atrium, what will be glass balustrading, are all the retail, all the shops and the catering and restaurant outlets. And we're under a big roof, which is the same material as the Eden project. That's probably the best reference I can use. And it is flooding in, and we're very lucky today, flooding in lots of light. But the overarching thing is just it's clean, it's open, it's airy, and it's very visible. You can see exactly where you want to go. So that's a very big change from what was here before. And actually, I think where lots of other shopping centres don't have that, they tend to have malls which are taken in a certain direction. This is 360 panorama.
Well, we first got involved with Friars Walk in 2001. We talked through sort of various formats for the scheme, which ranged from major comprehensive development to simple retail parks. People had different views as to what was going to be deliverable after the recession.
The previous scheme was very much a department store at each end with a corridor of shops in the middle, air-conditioned shopping box, which, to be honest, you could drop in from Mars, and you could be in Sheffield, you could be in Manchester, you could be in any of the big shopping malls in the country. And I firmly believe that I wanted people to think they're in Newport.
So when Queensberry first got involved, what was really important to us was actually how the scheme linked back into the rest of the city of Newport, but it also embraced the other uses and the other leisure uses that are around.
I think the fundamental thing to understand about the project is that it falls in level about 6 metres from the city and the existing shopping to the riverside. And what that's allowed us to do from an urban design point of view is to locate the car parking and all of the servicing out of sight below the retail level. So we're now standing in the main retail heart of the project, Friars Walk itself. This will be predominantly fashion, and the type of units that we have provided here are the ones that were not available in the city. So they're 40 metres deep on one side of the mall, 30 metres deep on the other side of the mall. It's designed as an external environment, so we have external finishes throughout, but really a very simple setting for the retailers to express themselves.
We first purchased in 1981 about 40% of the regeneration site, which makes up about 16 acres, but it's in a conservation area. It's 100 yards from a Grade 1 listed Beverley Minster church, and we set about a whole process of trying to design something that was fitting to Beverley.
So Beverley itself, it has numerous different styles of architecture and types of brickwork, and what we've tried to do is pick a palette of materials that will actually be sympathetic to Beverley and create the variety that Beverley already has. Behind you is the main piazza area in front of the cinema and restaurants. We were constrained quite a lot by the fact that there is a historic monument of a wall that runs through the space. So we've created a sort of priory garden effect to the one side of the wall, and then paved it so it will be a usable entertainment space where people can actually sit outside. One of the key features of the scheme is the axis that runs from the housing to the rear of the site all the way through, creating a view of the Minster. Now that doesn't actually happen very much in Beverley at the moment. It's more smaller views closer in, and there aren't any long distance views. So we've tried to create a longer vista to actually set off the Minster from in the scheme and from the housing that's to the rear of the scheme.
It's about Beverley. It's not particularly about this site. It's about trying to grow something that's far greater for Beverley, and it's how it moulds into Beverley. We've increased the length of the retail core. We've brought the Minster into the centre of the retail core. The Minster have been our biggest supporter for the last 10 years because it was at one end of Beverley. It's now, as you see in York, the Minster's right in the middle and the heart of the town. And we've worked very, very closely with the Chamber of Trade, the Town Council, to make sure what we're doing not only is sympathetic in terms of its design, but also in terms of its impact on Beverley itself. It adds to Beverley.
Westfield got involved in the Broadway project in 2004. During the course of 2008, a number of retailers that we had signed up or in deep negotiations, they walked away from any development that was being undertaken. So we were forced into a position where work had to stop. But we never stopped being committed to Bradford. We started construction in January 2014, and here, 18 months hence, I think people can see the shopping centre very well developed. We redesigned the centre to make it more market facing, so that was kind of right sizing it. We had a two-storey mall, so an upper and lower level mall. What you can see over here is a single level mall, but that's created a very interesting feature where we have single story shops to my right and actually double story height shops to my left, where you generally get the major shop units. The mall itself is a U-shape I mentioned, and naturally the two anchors of M&S and Debenhams, they go furthest away from the city centre, so you can shop the whole of the U, or actually you can exit part of the shopping centre by the anchor stores, which is part of the whole concept of joining the city up together. We're trying to reflect some of the historic buildings, but with a modern interpretation, but similar kind of colours, and then with certain contrasts in terms of the Debenhams store, which is quite striking with its sort of tones of greens and blues and turquoise to create that sort of accent note within the city centre. But we think it will be a well-mannered building sitting very comfortably within the streetscape.
After stepping inside each of the sites, it's clear they've all taken unique approaches to their design and architecture, but all four developments have been expertly integrated within their individual locations. Friars Walks links to its surrounding leisure facilities, Fleminggate's clear lines of sight into the town, Bradford Broadway's design nods to the old city, and Grand Central Birmingham's transformation from a travel gateway into a retail destination all lie at the heart of their plans to connect with the wider community and drive footfall for years to come.